Enterprise software.
Absolutely. If you log into it and you use it, it's an enterprise software.
Gmail?
Give example, absolutely. Gmail, Google, Yahoo, Miniclip. Any application that you don't have on your computer, that your local machine does not do all the work and provide all the data and move all the data back and forth, that is the enterprise software system. Now, good we're talking about it and thinking about it this way, because why is that important to businesses? Because businesses use enterprise applications for a lot of their business process flows, a lot of their business processes, meaning that if you are an accountant and you're sitting up there and you're crunching numbers all day long, and I want to know what the numbers you're crunching, I have to go to your desk and say, hey, can you show me the sheet? Or you have to send me that information. But the enterprise application system is, if you're an accountant, you're crunching numbers all day long, but you're crunching it on a server, and that server has that data at all times. So someone else can go in without even bothering you or talking to you, get that information, look it up, see what it is, the latest and the greatest of information, and be able to be updated at all times.
Like Oracle?
Like Oracle, absolutely. Oracle is a database, and the database is what's holding all of the information. And so any other thing like PeopleSoft, which is a human resource application, that use Oracle database would actually be able to divvy that information out as needed or as on call, is what they call it, at will. So enterprise software systems are extremely important, and believe this or not, has not really been around that long for the last 15 to 20 years, but they're extremely important to both businesses and our everyday life because they're huge amount of data that can be dispersed at one time and not it having to go out and get the information piecemeal and having the information on one particular place. So that's what an enterprise application is. So the benefits of enterprise applications is data is updated in real time. And just like you just explained just a minute ago, somebody can go out at any time and get the latest and the greatest information without having to come talk to you or waiting for you to, to finish it up. It's a single place to manage the data, and that's important, a single place to manage the data. The reason why that's important, let's say you're working on your computer, okay, somebody comes along and kicks the cord out, and boom, your data's gone. Well, that data's gone. Data lost, the data's gone. You can't do anything about it. On the enterprise application software system, there's a whole lot of processes that go along with that, meaning that once the server is put in place and it is running, more than likely they have a backup server for it. So that means that data is put in one place and it's also being backed up someplace else. And then at the end of the day, every single day they back that data up and they take it off-site, so they always have that data. So they will always have that data on the enterprise application system. So it's not subject to just one person having it and one person losing it. Okay, it's a little bit more security with it. It can be customized to fit your business. Exactly what people do with PeopleSoft. Most enterprise application softwares are adjustable to fit your business. That's in the industry, there's this thing called a shrink wrap. A shrink wrap is something that you go to the store, you get it off the shelf, you take the shrink wrap off, you load it up, and you use it. Okay, but with most businesses, the shrink wrap doesn't work. The shrink wrap method doesn't work. So enterprise applications, they come in and say, this is what my application can do. Now, what do you do in your business that will fit this application, or can we make this application fit you? One accounting people might close their accounting books every 3 weeks. One person might close their accounting book every 5 weeks. One person might close their accounting book every 4 weeks. So an enterprise application software has to be flexible enough to be able to handle one business process flow on this side, on one business does one thing, and another business that does something totally different. So one may want to know the price of cookies and how many cookies they sold, and the other one probably wouldn't care about that. They just want to know how many bags of cookies they sold. So the enterprise application, being able to keep all that data, needs to be able to be flexible enough to be able to tell you different forms and data at all times. So that's what enterprise software system comes in. And data in secure central locations is another reason. Like I was saying earlier, it's not on your desktop. It's not something that somebody can just come unplug real quick and then you lose your data. It's on the server and that server is backed up and they have the data at all times. I was going to say something. If you have a bad process flow when you have a server and you don't have that server backed up, then it's a single point of injury or a single point of loss. It's the same thing, so it really doesn't make any sense if you put it out on the server and you still not back it up and have any redundancy on that server. It's still the same aspect as if it's on that computer as a standalone software. Some of the non-benefits.
What about a blackout?
A blackout? Absolutely. All servers in a computer room, when I say all servers, the best business process would be to have what they call UPS, and UPS stands for uninterrupted power supply. Okay, so the whole building goes out. It's running off this battery, which is called UPS, and it keeps that computer running at all times. And then if the power stays off long enough, then they have a generator. Excuse me. And the generator kicks on and it provides power. Now, most of the time it provides power only to certain plugs, which they have located within the building. And those plugs are the ones that you plug all your server and data that you do not want to lose. Your computer that you never want to turn off, something like that. So you plug those into what they call dedicated power supplies, is what they call them. And you plug it into those. Most of the time they're orange. Little orange buttons that you plug into. You walk into business and see. So if the power goes completely out, blackout goes completely out, those servers are sitting and plugged in at all times to a big battery called UPS, and those batteries keep those servers up and running until an additional power can be turned back on, or until you can safely shut down the computer. And as a side note, we get into this later when we go into hardware. If your computer crashes, then that's data loss at that point in time. So you don't ever want it to crash. So you want something on your hardware to keep it up so you can safely go and shut it down. And if you do that, you won't lose any data. No more questions? Some of the non-benefits of enterprise software. A non-benefit is that it needs network connection. That you cannot run 1,000 cables out to 1,000 people in your computer, in your office, and they connect directly up into that server. So that server needs to be connected to a network, and that network is this transportation of getting the information back and forth between the computer that you're working on and the server that's running the data and that's running the application. You need additional costs for the hardware. First of all, now you have to put a big network in place. You have to buy servers, and servers are not very inexpensive because of the nature of what it does. You turn it on, you build it, you turn it on, you never turn it off. That server runs pretty much 25 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's a more robust machine, it's a more stable machine, and that machine actually does a whole lot more processing than just a regular standalone PC. So it costs a little bit more. So it's an additional cost to run enterprise application software. Where I had an office, and I had everybody had Microsoft Office on it, and we didn't share anything, but I wanted you to type a letter for me. You typed the letter for me, you printed it out, and you gave it to me, then that might be fine. But if I wanted you to type the letter and then send it to me, over email, or any other type of thing that has to do with the enterprise application system, then that's an additional cost for you being able to do that. And again, at times it can be a single point of failure. If you don't run your business process and you don't put UPSs on your servers, if you don't back your data up, and you can, and especially databases can be backed up in increments of like 15, 20, 30 minutes. If you don't back your data up, once something happens to that machine, and it's gone. It's a single point of failure. Versus, let's say that I had a letter and I gave it to 15 people. Now 15 people have that letter and they have it on their machine, so now I have 15 copies of that. Where on the enterprise software system, there's one letter that 15 people are sharing. And that's the concept, the business concept. So, talking about that, what's the benefit of the standalone software? Well, benefits of the standalone software, you don't need a network connection. Again, you know, you're standing alone, you're over there by yourself, you're just doing the work that you do. And then if you want to give me something, you print it out, type it out, or whatever, and you give it to me. That's the benefit of it. So I don't have to invest on a router, network, a server, and things of that nature to have a network to be able to utilize an enterprise software system. They're costless due to a single install. I only have this one secretary, and that one secretary only does one deed, or she's the only one that writes on my letter. Okay? If that's the case, then I only have to pay for Microsoft Office for that one secretary. I don't have to pay for Microsoft Office for everyone. Another thing with enterprise software systems is that you have to have a licensing fee for every single user. So that means if I'm using Microsoft Office on a server, and you use it, you use it, you use it, and you use it, then I have to pay a license for you to be able to go on that server and use it. So now I have to pay a license fee for you, where if it was a single standalone application, I just have to pay a license fee for her, and she does everything for me. So, and that's one of the benefits of standalone. And it's easy to install. Believe it or not, servers are not easy to install. Running the applications over a network, having hundreds and thousands of users. I mean, think about Yahoo. Can you imagine how big Yahoo servers are? Can you imagine how many people log into them every single day, log out every single day, use Yahoo Music, use the emails, so on and so forth. Apple is the same way. I mean, those guys, they have a huge network. And those huge network comes at a huge cost. And it's hard to keep those up to date, and it's hard to make sure that those applications are the same and running on the most up-to-date versions of it. Now, if I had a standalone application, I just have it on somebody's PC, I just walk up there and update that, and it's done. So, and that's a benefit of standalone. Anybody think of non-benefits of standalone applications?
That once you're working off the cloud.
Absolutely. It's not easy to share and collaborate with others. It's just not. And data not in secure and centralized locations. So again, just like you said, once that data is lost, it's lost. I mean, it's not in a place that, you know, is recoverable. All right. Any questions so far?
No. I had something else.
Yeah.
The other thing with the network system is that if the network goes down, it's very hard to do your job.
Absolutely. If the network goes down and you're dependent on that application that's running on the network, then yeah, you can't do your job. That's not possible for you to do your job. So then now there's a whole number of people that's now non-productive because of a single point of failure, which is the network that went down. That is absolutely correct. Okay, so to summarize what we talked about, is we talked about computers. We talked about software and what software does on computers. We talked about standalone applications, and we talked about enterprise software applications.
Operating systems.
And operating systems, absolutely. And all that together, trying to get you a good idea on the reason why enterprise application software was developed and what we do and how we use them today. They have come a long way. They started with a client server, and then they started with just a login type situation, and now it's rapid. Everything that you touch is pretty much the application, enterprise application software. So, any questions?
No.
No, so far.
And you explained it all.
All right. Thank you.